Greetings and happy Edutainment Game Month. Well, maybe not officially, but it is here on Lazy Game Reviews, because all of this month we will be looking at edutainment games. What do I mean by edutainment? Well, it's pretty much whatever I want it to, but, games that are mostly thought of as having some sort of educational slant. And to kick things off, we're going to be looking at some of the Fisher-Price games for MS-DOS PCs. They also came out on, I think some of the Apple, the Commodore, and of course, one or two on the NES. But we're just going to be looking at some of the MS-DOS games, whatever they are, here, today, starting right now.
Alright, so the first one we're taking a look at here is My Grand Piano. As with all of these Fisher-Price MS-DOS games, it starts with a nifty little animation with that theme song that you hear in circuses and stuff, as rendered by the PC speaker with dancing letters. How enthralling. And then you get the introduction to the game, in this case, the Grand Piano, with more dancing things. And they're all from 1988 by IJE Incorporated, which is apparently part of GameTech, who made tons and tons of licensed games back in the day. Grand Piano starts you off with a screen with options. I would recommend pressing help to get help, because the help is needed, in this case because it might help. I don't know, it's not really necessary, but it does give you an overview of the things that you can do. There really is no right or wrong place to start, but we'll just take a look at this from left to right, starting at the top. And that is the Grand Piano itself. You can press the X through greater than keys on the keyboard to play the piano through the PC speaker, such as it is. Yeah, rockin'. And you get the do-re-mi sequence indicated by happy little creatures for each key that you press. I don't know what the creatures mean. I really don't. You'd think that do would perhaps be a deer, a female deer, but it's not. It's like a raccoon, so whatever. You also have the option to record your random batterings on the keyboard and play it back, or you can just select the pre-built songs in the program, and there are quite a few of them. So it's just kind of a really, really simplistic jukebox for your PC speaker. Nothing amazing. The real meat of Fisher-Price's Grand Piano is the Teach Song and Sheet Music options. Teaching the song teaches you the song. It shows you the actual notes and the letters, keys on the keyboard or piano. Okay, so here's the weakness of Grand Piano. Obviously, this is not a piano, it is a keyboard. Not the greatest thing to learn piano on. In fact, it's friggin' awful. Very hard to learn proper technique, and probably the worst part is that it's missing the sharps and flats keys on the piano. That would be the black keys that are normally there. They're just not here, so you have no sharps or flats. But then again, it's not really meant to teach you that. This is like a really introductory, basic kind of, hey, here's notes, here's what they look like, you can press them and this is kind of what they sound like. It does that, and it teaches you some very basic tunes through the use of this program. I mean, I remember the very basics of taking piano lessons as a kid, and this was pretty much what it was. In fact, it was these same songs usually, but it wasn't played through a PC speaker or through an IBM keyboard. It was actually on a piano, so I mean, you ignored those black keys anyways, so you was like, oh, whatever, you don't really need them, so you never learned them. You don't need to here either, so you still have that same experience. It's limited, yes, but it does what it's supposed to, and it's kind of fun to screw around with. Although if you really want to make PC speaker music in a program in DOS, I would recommend the Music Construction Set by Will Harvey for Electronic Arts. But yeah, that's something completely fully featured and totally awesome. This is just an introduction to music for kids on the IBM PC, and for what it is, it's not too bad. The next Fisher-Price game here is Firehouse Rescue. Contrary to the title, you are not rescuing firehouses, you work at a firehouse rescuing people or something. Oh yeah, here we go. The object of the game. As a firefighter in training, it is your job to rescue the little people. Those aren't midgets, those are the little people that Fisher-Price made, the little toys, and pets from the various locations. Simple enough. Just choose 1, 2, 3, or 4 to correspond to the level you'd like to play, and predictably the difficulty, and you're off in your fire truck, looking way too happy, about to leave. I like to think he just farted. You're presented with a maze that is quite easily navigated with the arrow keys, and then make your way to the house that happens to be flashing. And then once you get there, you rescue the heads that pop out of the windows by lining up your ladder and pressing the down arrow. Unless for some reason the house is a tree. I suppose that's a tree house. In that case, you'll have to get the cat. And that's it. You just keep going around, going to houses, looking gangster, driving up and doing your gangster fireman stuff. Anyways, you do this, and it'll ask you if you want to continue in the same place. It'll give you a new maze, new houses and stuff, and you just keep rescuing until it tells you you're done, and then you become a firefighter. Yeah! The next levels get predictably tougher, well, tougher for a kid's game. Level 2 has multi-screen mazes. Each maze has 2 houses. Level 3 uses the same mazes as Level 2, but there's an extra 50-second time limit added, so you kind of have to keep up with that. And if you run out of time, you are flogged, tarred, and feathered by a pack of angry Dalmatians, and you get 5 points on your license. Or it just asks you to play again, one of the two. Level 4 is the same as Level 3, but there's also a flashing key that you'll have to pick up on the map in order to enter the flashing house. I don't know why. It's like you arrive at the house and the fireman's like, "Hey, I'm here to rescue you," and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't save me unless you unlock the door," even though they're clearly being dropped down out of the window onto a ladder. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just an extra thing to have to take care of, so you'll probably want to play on Level 4. So, you know, it's almost fun. It's the closest to a game that anything here has been so far. I have one final thing to note about this game. I've noticed that nothing actually seems to be on fire. That's kind of strange. It makes me wonder if maybe this is just a bunch of morons playing pranks on you, or perhaps it's just a bunch of training missions. I mean, you know, that just kind of blew the mood for me. If there's no real risk of death or dismemberment, I'm not that interested anymore. Well, it serves its purpose well enough. It's a preschooler's maze game with an inconsequential mini-game in between mazes. So it's arguably better than just a vanilla maze game, and it serves to fuel a fireman fetish. The final Fisher-Price game that we have here is School Bus Driver. I bet you'll never guess what the object of the game is. Hint, it involves driving school buses. The object of the game is that it's your job to pick up the children at their bus stops and bring them to school. Anyways, you get level 1 and 2 at the beginning to choose from, and eventually you can unlock level 3 and level 4. Umgalal. Level 1 is simple enough. You start off at the school at 9 o'clock in the morning for some reason. Friggin' lucky kids getting to go to school late. And you get to drive the bus with the arrow keys and pick up the first pink-headed child. So you pick up the first little guy that just sort of jellies along to the bus. It makes me question his physiological makeup. And you continue with the wheels on the bus going round and round. Well, they would if there were any animation, but there's not. So I guess the wheels on the bus just stay there and stay there. So you got 6 kids to pick up, so pick them up. All 6 of them. Once you grabbed all 6 of the little punks, you take them back to the school and drop them off. Good job, it tells you, while your magic school bus wannabe looks at you creepily. You can then go on to level 2, which is pretty much the exact same thing, except the children are not at every bus stop, and they are randomly placed around the map. So you're pretty much doing a lot of roaming around this maze-like map of a map. It's not very exciting, although you can make it exciting by driving backwards. Yeah, there's no way to turn around your bus in mid-road, so actually you're going to have to drive backwards quite a bit. It's kind of awkward, but it works, and really, I suppose they intended for this. Whatever, you pick up all 6 of the little losers, drop them off at their day prison, and it's off to level 3. Level 3 is really where it starts to pick up just a tiny, tiny little bit of excitement, and that is because of the addition of the time limit at the bottom of the screen. The kids are still around, randomly playing hooky, eating ice cream instead of coming to the dang bus. So you'll just have to friggin' find them. I wish you could honk at them or like run over a cow to get their attention, but you can't. I tried. You take them to the school, you watch them leave, whatever. It's on to level 4. Level 4 is the same as level 3, so the kids are punks, there is a time limit, and now there's roadblocks. So you've got cows in the middle of the road that unfortunately you cannot run over, and you have construction things, which unfortunately you cannot run over, and there's fallen trees, which unfortunately you cannot set on fire or chop up with a chainsaw. This actually makes it more of a maze than just a little town to wander around aimlessly, so really the whole challenge of this is remembering where each of the blocks are, and then which route you'll have to take to get to a certain kid. And believe it or not, I actually failed on this one. I ran out of my 5 minutes and I got fired. So I really don't know what this is supposed to teach kids other than the simple maze stuff. I mean, you know, be punctual, learn how to drive backwards. It's okay to play hooky as long as you're getting ice cream, even if the bus driver happens to lose his job because you were being a little turd. Maybe that's not the point. It's pretty much just a time waster. It's something to give the teachers and parents some sort of peace of mind about giving their kids to do. I mean, that's what all of these games are. You know, show them some notes on the piano. Show them how to rescue people from buildings that are not on fire. And show them how to make it so that their bus driver loses his job. All fine skills for any young lad or lass to learn. Thank you, Fisher-Price, for teaching me how the world works. Yeah, so that's it for this Fisher-Price stuff. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed, because this was awkward.